When you hear the word lollipop, you think of a sweet piece of candy. But how about a lollipop made from chicken drumsticks? My barbecue chicken lollipops are a fresh take on boring old drumsticks and will give you the barbecue experience without firing up the grill. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. On this channel, we teach you all about celebrating. We share recipes for food, hors d'oeuvres, cocktails, and we share entertaining tips too. Now, we try and keep it all as simple as possible, especially for those of you out there who say that you just can't cook or entertain, because we know that you really can. So if you like this episode, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get a new episode every single week. Today, our celebration is all about lollipops, but not just any old lollipops. We're making barbecue chicken lollipops. So let's get started. I have some chicken drumsticks in front of me, and you see they look a little different. And that's because I have Frenched them, and I will show you what that means. Now, as I said, this is made in the oven. We don't even need a grill. So anyone can make this, and everyone should make this. So the first step in this recipe is to preheat your oven to 375 degrees or 190 Celsius. So even all you apartment dwellers, there's no reason you cannot make this recipe. But we need to do a little prep on the chicken first. This may be a little scary, but it isn't that hard. It takes a little bit of effort, but you'll get the hang of it. Great little drumstick. The first thing I want to do with my very sharp knife, I want to cut down. I want to cut some of this away. Right here, about an inch down from the knuckle, close to where the fat part of the meat begins. We're just going to cut through, and we're going to rotate it around so we go all the way around. This is cutting through tendons and gristle and things that we don't need. Now you can just take your knife and start to scrape it away, and that's going to help it. It'll help you see if you didn't quite get everything cut through right there. So now you can see the bone. Now all we really want to do is get rid of this excess meat up here. Scraping it up will help loosen it a bit. And then you can just peel it away. Now, this is the only tricky part, really. You may need to use a kitchen towel if it gets really stuck. I've almost got this one. I'm just going to trim it a bit with my knife, carefully. And then this is going to go right in the trash. Now you have this nice, clean knuckle part. There may be little bits and bobs you can really clean up, but you can really just leave them. They'll cook off. Now, we want them to stand up like this. So I'm going to take it, and see it's on an angle here. I just want to cut a bit off right at the very tip, right through the end of the bone, so it stands up. Trash that. Now, we're just going to push this meat down. Pretty simple. There is this little pin bone here. You can trim right through it if you want. Just like that. And now, you have this great little chicken lollipop. I'll do one more for you. I know that was a lot to take in. Drumstick. About an inch down. Again, just rotate it around. And start to scrape up away from you, just like that. Now we're going to pull this off. This one's a little slippery. There we go. And I'm going to trim it with my knife right in the trash. Now I just need to snip this end off and make it flat. Maybe a little more if I can get it. There we go. Stand it up. Push that down. Now you have a nice little lollipop. If there's any extra little tendons and things, you can trim them off. Not a big deal. Okay, before we go to the next step, I have to go wash my chickeny hands and get rid of this chickeny board. I'll be right back. Well, we're ready to take the next step, which is the beginning of the seasoning process. Now, I just bought some barbecue rub that I like. You can use your favorite barbecue rub. And this is an important step because you really want to give these chicken legs some flavor. Let it get in there. All I do with my favorite rub, I just sprinkle it on liberally all over. Just like that. All nice and seasoned. Pretty easy, huh? Now, there's a couple more steps to this process. The first part is I'm going to pop these in the oven, 375 or 190 Celsius, and we're going to cook them for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to bring them back out and do the next step of the flavoring process. So this is just the first part, so stick with me while I go off to the ovens. Here we are, out of the oven. It's been 20 minutes. Now you think that they're done, but they're not. But don't they look good? You see the rub has been soaking in and the skin is starting to crisp up. Now our next step is we're going to put some barbecue sauce on. Why am I doing it now and not in the beginning? The reason is I wanted to give them a pre-cook. I wanted that rub to get a good chance to really soak in and the skin to start to crisp up. If I put the sauce on too early, I wouldn't have crispy skin or the sauce might burn. Neither one would be that good. So this is kind of fun. Take it, kind of like candy apple. Dip it in all the way. Shake off the excess. And right back. How easy. Now you could be dainty and paint them, but this is much more fun. Now, again, like I use a store-bought rub, this is just my favorite store-bought barbecue. I know, I usually make my own, and you can too. You can make your own rub if you want, but you can use store-bought just as well. Just use your favorites. Right in. All dipped. How easy and fun was that? Now, these are going to go back in the oven. And it's going to be maybe 15, maybe even 20 minutes. We want to cook that barbecue sauce. We want to get really set and sticky and wonderful. And we want to cook them until they come up to about 175 Fahrenheit, which would be around 80 degrees Celsius. And that's because this is dark meat when we want to make sure it's cooked all the way through and it's nice and tender and juicy. So now these go back to the oven. Here we are. It's been about 15 minutes and we're out of the oven and looking glorious. Now, I already checked these. These are well over 170 Fahrenheit or 80 Celsius. So now it's time for the tasting. Now, I love making these because I'm making these in a few weeks for a party for Halloween. You can make them any old time. But the great thing about them is you can make them in the morning and then they can be at room temperature for your party and they'll be just as delicious as piping hot. Now I'll take this little one that's a little crooked. No one will notice. Couple little scallions for prettiness sake. Now look at that. Okay, this is going to be messy, but let's go in. Wow. Delicious. The rub soaked into the meat was very flavorful, tender and juicy. And that barbecue sauce got a little zing to it. Again, it just brings it all together. Makes that a great party treat. Now, for all my sports-loving friends, I'm having a beer today. Quite unusual for me. And for those of you in the UK, look what kind of beer it is. This, along with that, it's a great combination. As always, we will have this recipe and all the instructions up in the video description section on YouTube and on our website. And we'll see you on Tuesdays for our regular episodes and Fridays for Basic Skills Day. So until the next time, remember, you're all invited to come on over, come on in, and let's celebrate. Cheers.